My fears for having a mastectomy. Well, when I asked myself that question and tried to think about what I feared before I had my operation, I could only think not a lot, which might sound a little bit flippant, but I think that I am quite typical of somebody who had a mastectomy first and treatment later. Other people have treatment first and mastectomy later, and obviously it swings and roundabouts, pros and cons of both, and a lot of it's down to the individual of what they would prefer. I had mastectomy first, which meant it was within 2 weeks of being diagnosed with cancer, and I can honestly say I was still in a daze. My brain wasn't working properly, really. I was in a sludge of cancer thought, and all I could think about was I wanted to put my illness in the hands of the medical profession and get them to deal with it. And if that meant taking away a breast, it meant taking away a breast. I remember moments after being told I had cancer, being told that I would definitely need to have a mastectomy, and just sort of went over my head. It was only when they also mentioned chemo that I suddenly had a moment of, whoa, this is really serious. But yes, back to a mastectomy. I said at the time, and it was sort of true, that just take whatever you have to take, just leave my brain and my soul and I'll be happy. And I think that does sort of sum up the sentiment to me. I think it also helps that I'd had a good handful of general anaesthetics before I was diagnosed with cancer, so I don't ever really fear having an operation. I sort of feel my body's been tested on that one. So I went into it thinking that I would go in with a tumour growing and I would come out with the tumour and everything around it hopefully gone. So my hope was that it would work, but I don't think I really had a fear that it wouldn't. I have just thought of one fear I had, that the mastectomy would then give me the pathology results, and my big fear was that we would then find out it was in the lymph nodes, and then I'd have to have my lymph nodes out as well. Unfortunately, it was in the lymph nodes, and I did have to have my lymph nodes out, but I can say that it is now 2 years on. That second operation sort of blurs into the first. If you find yourself in that situation, it's perfectly doable. You just get your gown on again, go through it, and come out the other end as soon as you can, ready to start on the rest of treatment.